think it's ridiculous and sad that we have to be here today to have this press conference. A lot of folks may not know, but unfortunately, for too long, the sound of gunfire is all too common on certain blocks in certain neighborhoods. It's so common that it becomes regular background noise. But let me be clear. It is totally not normal to have an 11-year-old child shot in the face through her bedroom window. It's only by the grace of God that we are here today to talk about this as an injury and not as the first murder of a new year. We all need to be outraged by this type of behavior. It is completely unacceptable. This shooting happened and this child was injured because of absolutely reckless, celebratory behavior. Drinking and shooting an AR-15 rifle into the ear to celebrate New Year's, endangering everyone around them and an entire neighborhood. It's not normal to have gunfire in a neighborhood as a perceived celebration. When this happens, bad things happen. And this was done by a person who is a convicted felon, who should not even have a weapon in the first place. I was on the scene that night. Before this call came in, I was at the 4th Precinct with the police officers who were working. People may not know, but there is far too much gunfire to celebrate New Year's in certain neighborhoods in this city and around the country. It's completely reckless. A few minutes after midnight, I responded to this location with those 4th Precinct officers. And it's only by the grace of God that we found an 11-year-old child with an injury and not dead. This is an example of the excellent police work that happens every day in this city by members of this police department. And this was only possible because of the support of our community. This is an example of what can happen when community and police officers collaborate and work together to bring justice. I am proud to announce that thanks to the diligent work of our investigators and the collaboration of members of our community, Mr. James William Turner of Fridley was arrested this morning and booked for assault 1 and being a felon in possession of a weapon. We will be vigorously pursuing him to be charged in both state and federal court. Again, I am thankful to the police officers involved. I am thankful to our residents, our community members who helped us bring a resolution to this case so quickly. But I am most thankful that we were talking about an injury and not a murder. And we're prayerful that this child will recover and be able to move past this incredibly traumatic experience. Are there any questions?
Was this just a random shooting?
As I mentioned, after midnight, there were countless folks firing rounds into the air, which is completely reckless. So this person was doing what way too many other people were doing in North Minneapolis and other parts of the city and in cities around the country. And this is an example of how stupid that is to engage in that behavior.
Were they in a car or were they just walking around shooting?
I'm not going to get into the the utmost specifics as it remains under investigation, but they were very close to the residents in that area.
You mentioned shootings in a particular area and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have that information. I mean, does that help you to be able to, I mean, how do you approach it then?
So on a normal day, on a typical day, we approach it trying to be as precise as possible. A couple of weeks ago, there was shots fired in North Minneapolis in the area of about 32nd and Penn Avenue, where there's a daycare. Those shots came from a block away, and the daycare was struck. But when those shots went off, there were police officers patrolling that area at that time, because we use that data to try and be as precise as possible and be proactive to try and prevent things. At the same time, we try and go after that less than 1%, those folks who are out here that have histories that are really dangerous, that are just as likely to be a victim of violence as they are to shoot someone else, and try and do everything we can to get them off the street and then keep them off the street. So it's a matter of trying to be as precise as possible and trying to collaborate again with community as best we can. both for folks to tell us what they think is going on in the neighborhood and where something is about to heat up, but also to support community-based organizations that can prevent things from escalating in the first place. It's about doing everything we possibly can to drive this down. But on New Year's Eve at midnight, like so many other places, it's outrageous, you know, and just how many people are so stupid to be firing guns off into the air. Whatever goes up must come down, and this is an example where we believe, you know, alcohol was also involved, and clearly with a weapon, that's a weapon of war, an AR-15. It shouldn't be on the street in the first place.
Chief, you've got technology up there, ShotSpotter. I mean, was that of any assistance to you in this situation?
ShotSpotter is of assistance, and yes, it was useful in this investigation. However, there is an element of, you know, human confirmation when there is gunfire. And so at a time like this, where the system becomes overwhelmed, and oftentimes it does not catch up in time when there's just so much gunfire happening in so, you know, close a number of minutes.
What's your reasonable answer? I mean, you can't stop every car in North Minneapolis and check them for guns.
No, I mean, that's stupid. And, you know, it's again, it's a matter of being precise. But at moments like this, where you have people who, not this particular individual, but others in general, this person has a history, right? But you have other folks in general that make it more difficult because people think it's okay. It's just a matter of celebrating to just go outside and start shooting some rounds off into the air. And that's totally reckless. So nights like this, it makes it particularly dangerous.
How's the 11-year-old? I know you mentioned
Yes.
she's gonna live and she's fine, but she got shot in the face.
Yes, she did.
I mean,
Yeah.
have you been in touch with the family? Like, how are they coping?
Our investigators have. I have not personally. I was there that night with her and her mother. You know, she has it is a non-life-threatening injury, thank God. It is not a graze wound. I believe there's a bullet fragment struck her in the side of the face. It's a terrifying experience, even though she does live. And thank God she has, but still, like, for the family to have to deal with the trauma of this. Children should be safe in their home, let alone in their bedrooms. It's just, it's terrible. And I know there's services and other folks, other partners that we have that have been in touch with them. But I'm just thankful that we were able to do our part, the initial steps in trying to bring some justice in this case.
Are there other suspects in this case?
There are no other suspects at this time.
You said there was multiple shootings?
Shots
around
fired.
Shots
Yes.
fired around
Yep.
midnight. Are you certain that this guy is the one that did this?
We believe there is sufficient evidence to charge this individual as the person that's responsible, yes.
Chief, even if you were fully staffed in the 4th Precinct, I mean, would that be of any assistance in a situation like this? You're only responding after the fact.
Yes.
If I have 1,000 cops in North Minneapolis, that's not going to help you, is it?
Well, certainly it helps. The more number of officers we have absolutely helps because it enables us to do everything that much better. It is a challenge to respond to incidents with the limited number of officers we have because it's a matter of numbers. At the same time that our officers are, you know, responding to these scenes, they're responding to more scenes than they had been when there were 900 cops here, you know, 3-4 years ago. And our investigators are investigating more individual cases, a whole lot more individual cases than when there were twice as many investigators 4 years ago. So it absolutely helps to have more officers, and that's the goal, to rebuild this department and also to find other ways to help us do this work better, because it continues to get increasingly challenging to do investigations when there's more and more technology and you know, more things are required by the courts and by the prosecutor's office to charge people. So yes, absolutely, but this shows how dedicated the members are that are here, and this shows what is possible when we are working together with community to bring justice in a case so quickly like this. We're thankful.
So community is talking? I mean, because very often there's a code of silence up there.
This case is possible because of cooperation and collaboration from folks from the community, absolutely. And that's something that we always ask for, even if it's anonymous, just to try and point us in the right direction. And it's something that's helpful even before something happens, to call us in and let us know, you heard that, this individual on this block is having a problem with so-and-so, that somebody that we might know. All of that is very positive and necessary in order for us to do our job.
Was this a fully automatic rifle?
I don't have that information. This was an AR-15 rifle, which is like a
Which is
M16.
not, which doesn't stand for assault rifle, obviously.
It's not by definition an assault weapon, but it's an AR-15, it's an M16. It's the same type of rifle that's used by the military. It's clearly a weapon designed to kill people.
You mentioned the suspect has a history that would have barred them from owning this weapon. Can you speak more to that, and if that's a consistent issue that your officers are running into?
It is common, absolutely, particularly when we're trying to focus, like I said, on the worst of the worst, the people who are most active, causing the most harm. And yes, oftentimes those are people who this isn't their first brush with the law, that they have a history. They have a history at times of being victims of violence themselves, as well as having convictions for felonies. And this person is a convicted felon currently, I believe currently under court supervision. Yes, supervised release, yes. Any other questions?
So how many are on your radar? I mean, this one clearly was on your radar. What kind of number are you talking about?
This individual, prior to this, was not on our radar. This person is not under supervision in this county. This person was in Minneapolis that night and caused this problem. We have a list of folks that we know are active, and it's different depending on what we're talking about. If we're talking about those who have the highest propensity for violence, that's one list that we look at. And obviously there's folks who are involved in groups and gangs, and oftentimes there's violence with that, particularly when it's involved with distribution of fentanyl and drug sales. So it varies based on what we're talking about, but we are not talking about a lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like under 50?
I'm not going to give a specific number, but there's definitely a group of folks that we look at in collaboration with federal law enforcement, as well as state and county partners. We all share that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe another question? Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Congratulations on catching that guy.